Join us and help us continue to support the many talented people of our community. Learn how to get your business highlighted on La Crosse Local. Go to lacrosselocal.com and click on Advertise. Join us at the La Crosse Winter Roots Festival, Saturday, February 11th at the La Crosse Center. We'll celebrate Wisconsin favorites in music, cuisine, local beer, and spirits. Grab tickets at lacrosselocal.com. We connected with Juliana Dolan of Villa Bellezza Winery. We talk about early beginnings, architecture, their European influence, their yearly Pepin Nouveau release, the outdoor Christmas market, and what makes for a good day in Pepin, Wisconsin. You can find more conversations, food reviews, live music, and events on our website, lacrosselocal.com. I'm Amy.
And I'm Brent.
And this is La Crosse Local.
So what is your connection to the winery?
I'm one of the owners. My husband and I opened this originally starting out of a garage hobby, frankly, is how it began.
So basically it got its start. I mean, just from, I was actually down there recently this past spring, maybe more summer, but I can't remember. But I mean, just from going from a garage to what you have now that's crazy. Yeah. I mean, what was the initial kind of start?
Well, I would say we built a vacation place down here 20 some years ago, and the upper Mississippi River Valley was developing as a new wine destination area. Derek and I both had started businesses from scratch in the past, and he still has a business up here in Minneapolis. And we have good friends who are originally from Italy, a whole family of them up here in Minneapolis. And as a result of knowing them, we have friends in Italy that we enjoy visiting, our relatives, and some of their interests rubbed off on us. So when the whole wine region was developing, we thought it would be fun to plant some grapes and harvest and make wine just like Martino and Rosina do outside of Rome in Italy. Wouldn't that be magical? So it started that way with our friends who live here, Italian friends coming down to help, and other friends. And then it just grew, and we added to the vineyards and ultimately saw it as an opportunity to bring a business to an area that we'd grown to love as vacationers, weekenders, something that would give back to the community and also be a part of this developing wine region. So we located ourselves on Great River Road, a great location in terms of what have brought people to this area for years, for that drive. And that was part of, I think, the success of how we got started, just that location.
I mean, what can people expect when visiting? I know I was kind of blown away. I've always seen pictures of it, and you say, being on the Great River Road, but also just the architecture is just crazy in an awesome way, of course, traditional, but doesn't seem like it should be on the Mississippi River.
Both Derek and I are Scandinavian by descent. So I guess we should call ourselves wannabe Italians. We've always enjoyed traveling there. And as I said, have a lot of Italian friends and enjoy the architecture. My husband designed the spaces. He has a science side to him, but also an art side to him. And what we were trying to do was create something that would resemble one of the little villages in Italy that people love to visit, or anywhere in Europe, frankly. All of these villages that have the center piazza where people gather and people just live. The idea of creating that kind of an escape, we thought we would enjoy ourselves, and we hoped others might enjoy as well. So it was that village that we were trying to create. And that's how we got into the event business, because you build for a winery a tasting room, but if you want to create a piazza, you need to create something that has multiple buildings to create the enclosure. So we decided to build the event center and launch a wedding event business at the same time that we opened the tasting room as well. And that gave us the space that could then become a piazza. Later, we added the restaurant, and things have kind of built in stages from there. It's just like a village would build.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit at a time. That's what has happened.
Yeah, walking in the front door there, that's just kind of a sight to see. But, we did the tasting, and then we went out into the courtyard piazza area and had some snacks and stuff like that. And we're just hanging out, and it was a beautiful day, a little cool.
Yeah.
But then there's also there's a wedding going on. So seeing people kind of, vibrantly enjoying themselves, but also kind of busting out those doors a little bit, probably having some little wine. It did seem like you're almost watching something from a foreign film in some capacity. Is pretty cool.
Well, and we've heard other people say the same thing when they're there. And we tell people when they tour about, whether they'll choose us for their wedding, is that it is going to be like a village, and their wedding guests and their wedding party is welcome in the piazza. Often they take photos out there, but that the family and the couple should know that there will be villagers, as we call them, the rest of you. And it frankly, couples say that it adds to their day. And that is, what we recall, and others have told us they recall when they travel in any of these little villages, whether it be Italy or something, there is often a wedding or an event. And it is part of that social gathering that includes people outside of the invited guests, make it unique. And so I'm glad you were there for a wedding to experience how that is, for sure.
So kind of checking out your website too, you have a number of events, that you do throughout the year, just a few of them. It looks like you kind of have in November, you have the Pepe Nouveau where you release. It's the first wine of the season, or what is that?
So we started the very first year, a Nouveau wine. It's a tradition that dates back to French and Italian traditions, largely, but probably other places as well. But we liked the tradition. It's a celebration of the first wine made from this season's grapes. So it's a very, very young wine, much less than most wines would take to make. So literally, a Nouveau wine goes from being a grape to being wine in a bottle in something like 7 weeks. And so it's always held. The celebration is always held in France and Italy on the third Thursday in November, which we've imitated. And it's meant to be the first taste of literally this season's harvest. And so it's a light, usually a pretty fruity wine, but very drinkable, very easy. And it's also, the tradition goes that it's perfect. It's coming right at the time for the holidays. So whether it be in America, Thanksgiving, as well as the other holidays around the winter season. And so that can be on holiday tables. But the tradition says that if you drink a Nouveau wine in the same year that it was harvested, it also brings good fortune. So we try to sell a lot of Pepe Nouveau for that reason as well. Get yourself some good fortune, drink this before the year's end. And it's always done in a limited supply. So there's a lot to be said for that as well. Get there while it's here.
So also kind of touching on, your European influences, you also have the outdoor Christmas market, which I've been to Europe a number of times and really did enjoy those sort of holiday sort of artist markets that go on. So you basically fill up that whole outdoor area with.
Yes. And this is more recent. We started it, we've done it 2 years before COVID hit, and we had an interruption because of that. But we were looking for a way to bring visitors to the Pepin area in the off season. And frankly, before we did the Christmas market, things got pretty slow starting November-ish on, okay? And we were thinking and looking and looked at the piazza and remembered that these markets in Europe are always done, or very often done, in their piazzas. And we have a piazza, we should do this too. And so each of our vendors are in those arches all the way around the piazza and the porticos. There's heat in those
Oh, that's great.
porticos as well. So whether you visit in an early spring season or fall season, as a visitor, you can use those heaters as well. But in this case, the vendors are all lined up individually. We also use the event center, for lack of a better, kind of a warming house that visitors would go in there, and we have food set up. We call it tavola calda, which means hot plates, and it's more like street food, pizza by the slice, some hot sandwiches. There's a wine bar in there as well, and places for people to sit. So we run that because of the crowds we get rather than our restaurant. In some cases, we run the restaurant at the same time, but the thing you can always be assured is that we'll have tavola calda up and running so that people can get warm in our event center and also go out and do some shopping. And having the tavola calda set up in the event center, we also put more vendors inside so that you can do some shopping inside as well as out on the piazza. So it's spread out all over.
So just kind of checking out this past sort of fall season too, it also looks like you have, looks like you do a number of different things. You have the chef in the school where people can actually take classes.
Yes, Chef Antonio he's an experience. Okay. He's originally from Sardinia, Italy. He's absolutely charming, but also a pretty great teacher. And so it's a fun event, each of his cooking classes, but also people learn something. And it's a participation kind of event where they end up eating what they cook as well. So we're excited about doing that. We do that throughout the season, except for when he's back in Italy, which is in January and February when he goes home.
So just talking about the area where, the winery sits, I would visit to that town, include the winery, but what are some of your other favorite activities to do in that area, just as you as an individual or to do in the community?
Well, I think the water draw on the lake, whether you be a sailor going out there sailing or fishing, there's plenty of other retailers and restaurants in the area. Harbor View Cafe was probably it was the business, I believe, that put Pepin on the map. They've been doing fresh ingredients from farm to table before it was cool. It's been 40 some years ago, I think, is when they started. I'm not sure I'm quoting it perfectly. And there's plenty of other retailers in the area that people can visit. One thing I haven't done, I'd love to try, there's an Alma fishing barge.
Oh, yeah.
That apparently you raise a flag on the shoreline and they come get you. So that's a possibility. People do a lot of biking, hiking up into the Maiden Rock area. We have a lot of bikers who just like doing the Great River Road spin around Lake Pepin itself. The Eagle Center in Wabasha, I think, is a must-see place because Pepin is second only to Alaska for the number of eagles that are available to be seen, particularly during migration times. So for us to have a center like that of that caliber, I think is something to be proud of as well.
Wow, I never knew that. For people, I know I'm coming back for sure. It was super fun to come visit, this past spring, but where can people find out more? Where should they follow along for more information?
Well, if they would go to our website, because timing and events do change. So please check that on our website. Also through social media, we do posts of last minute changes on Facebook. So to check there would be the best two spots to check to begin with before you came our way. But you can count on us being open every day. The tasting room is open every day, unless we're in the middle of a snowstorm, and we would announce that on our website. But I'm amazed. My husband and I go back and forth from Minneapolis because we live part-time in Minneapolis, part down there. And we go back and forth in all seasons, twice a week. So 35 is a beautiful drive in any season, including right after a fresh snow. So if there has been a snow, I'd encourage you to come down, sit in front of our fireplace, have some wine, and maybe sit out on our piazza. We have people come dressed for snowmobiling, literally, and bring their dogs and sit in what we've referred to as our winter cafe and enjoy a little bit of craziness maybe, but it's kind of what we all pat ourselves on the back about as being part of this, upper Midwest community. So that would be another unique thing that people do in the winter with us, maybe that you haven't tried.
La Crosse Local Podcast is a production of River Travel Media. Do you have an interview idea you'd like to share with us? Message us on Facebook at La Crosse Local. Find out more about us at lacrosselocal.com, and you can subscribe to the La Crosse Local Podcast on your favorite podcast app. If you like us, rate us 5 stars. We appreciate it.